Growing up, I never wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to be a criminal. There's something about the way they disregard innocent lives in the pursuit of selfish gain that is so appealing. But mostly it's a cold-blooded murder of random citizens and rejection of order through government that gets me. CD Projekt Red decided to capitalize on this interest and release Cyberpunk 2077, a hit family game based on one of the demon-worshipping cults known as tabletop games from the 80s. Cyberpunk is full of breathtaking graphics and equally breathtaking bugs. All these bugs must be because the game was rushed to an early release where the devs weren't given enough time to fix them, right? Cyberpunk 2077. I start a new game and am prompted with the difficulty select screen. Obviously, I select very hard because I'm no baby. Then I'm put into another selection screen. This time I get to choose a backstory that brings a lot of important gameplay in the future, such as dialogue choices and more dialogue choices. But anyway, like all good RPGs of the last decade, I get to create my own character. I skipped through most of it, except hairstyle and color, where I make myself look like Dan TDM's long-lost great-grandchild. A beauty upon the eyes. I quickly skip through most of the other options that don't matter, like who wants to change their eyebrows? Not me. It's really a shame how much effort was put into a feature that can't even be seen for like 99% of the game. But anyway, I reached the bottom of the customization list and you start the game by throwing up into a sink while staring at yourself in a mirror. This really teaches us a lesson about the terrible work environment of corporate moguls. Anyway, I get a call from my good friend Jackie. I'm not too sure on the policies of Arasaka, but I don't think you should be talking with your friends while you're supposed to be like suppressing your corporation's wrongdoings. Maybe they do it differently in 2077, but I don't have time for small talk with Jackie. I have to live the American dream of working for a Japanese company called Arasaka. I go to a meeting with my boss, and when I arrive I watch him order the slaughter of a bunch of random politicians. Ain't that swell? I was hoping he'd be giving me a promotion, but he just told me I have to assassinate another Arasaka exec. Like, come on, man. There is nothing more American than dealing with your workplace rival by putting a bullet in their head. Anyway, I'm gonna go to meet with Jackie so I can ask if he pulls the trigger. That way I don't have to get my hands dirty. And on my way to meeting him, I get to ride in a flying car, giving me a great look at Night City, the city of dreams. I arrive at Lizzie's bar and get to talking with Jackie. Jackie? Are you alright? Hey Jackie. After that little conundrum, Jackie and I are approached by 3 men with the same hairstyle. They tell me to give them the information that the boss man had given me. I don't want to get in a fight with them because of the old saying, dudes with man buns are not to be messed with. So I hand over the information. They aren't happy with just the information and want me to come with them. But I had plans for the evening, man. So the Jackie, convinces them nicely that they should go. 6 months later, Jackie and I have established our names in the criminal underground and have a job to retrieve a woman who was abducted by gang members. We make our way to her location, which is probably the largest apartment I've ever seen. It takes up half of a floor. What are these guys doing? Why do they need this much space? People gotta live in these tiny little studio apartments and you guys have all of this? Come on, man. But anyway, I enter a room and there's my first enemy. He's conveniently looking away from me, so I sneak up behind him and do a non-lethal takedown. That way when he wakes up, he'll be surrounded by dead bodies of his fallen friends, and he'll have to live with a lifelong trauma of being the lone survivor, and survivor's guilt will follow him every step that he takes. Jackie and I do this really cool simultaneous takedown on 2 of the goons, but then when I go to do Jackie's takedown, his body just teleports away. Must be some kind of new technology that they have that prevents your corpse from being stolen from. It's really innovative. I tried to continue being stealthy, but one of the dead bodies I leave behind is noticed, and I have to resort to more violent means. Nothing gets your blood pumping like shooting a bunch of random goons. It's really crazy how much the world has advanced. I can shoot this guy 3 times in the face, and he'll just continue on as if nothing happened. Like, they must have some like Deadpool, Wolverine regeneration type stuff here. Because even I can take a couple of bullets too and keep on with my day like it was a flick in the chest. Once all the goons were dead, I searched the building for our target. And I find her in this bathroom, and I don't think that's really the safest way. Like, laying naked in an ice bath while unconscious. Like, I don't think that's very good for your health. But I'm no doctor, so. Anyway, I bring her out to the balcony because the actual doctors are coming. They arrive, and it shows just how different the world is in 50 years. Because I don't see many doctors around today carrying fully automatic firearms. I put the woman down on the little stretcher that they told me to, and I'm just doing as they say, but then this guy punches me. Like, man, I don't know what's going on in your home, but you don't have to bring it to work. Like, that's emotional baggage, and no one wants to deal with that. It's dragging down the mood. Now that the job was done, I proceed home and get kitted out in some dapper clothes. Like, I'm going for this middle-aged businessman who's trying to be cool by driving to work on motorcycles look, and I think it really works out. I then proceeded to go to bed while wearing my clothes. I don't know if that's like the best choice. It's gotta be really hot with that leather jacket on, man. I'll wake up in the morning and I'm not feeling too well. It seems I caught a virus from that bathtub girl's like chip I put in my head. Anyway, I head down to meet Jackie, and he tells me he got this job from a fixer named Dexter Deshawn. Apparently this Dexter guy is not a child genius, but like a top fixer in Night City. If he's so good, why hadn't I heard of him? Once Jackie finishes up his noodles, we head to the Ripper dock. That way I can get the virus wiped from my systems. But I'm led into this dark alleyway, and there's this child in there. And I'm no parent, but I don't think it's a good idea to let a child play with like a fully functioning gun. So I do the reasonable thing and try and teach a kid a lesson. The game won't let me punch the kid directly, so I do this spinning air punch. And it's really intimidating because it does a trick and he drops the gun and starts slowly jogging out of there. But my lesson wasn't over yet, so I tried to chase the kid with my katana, but he entered this little shop and I couldn't even pull out my weapons. I guess you win this time, kid. Feeling good that I had turned this kid's life around, I go and pet this really ugly dog. 50 years of evolution didn't do dogs any favors. When I pet it, it makes this weird like meowing noise, but I think it just has like species identity crisis. Like, you can really tell that the world is changing when dogs start having identity crises. I head down the stairs to meet with the Ripper Doc, and he must be a little hard of hearing because I told him that I needed a virus wiped, but he gave me a whole new eye and like hand sensor thing. I'm not complaining though, because I didn't even have to pay up front. He gave me like this loan that doesn't even have like compounding interest. Like, I could pay you in 80 years, and it's not gonna cost like anything more than it would if I paid you in 2 days. Feeling good about scamming one of my best friends, I go and meet with Dex, and he tells me a little bit more about this job we gotta do. But first, I have to go get this robot flathead thing that Maelstrom has taken. So I head on my way there, and they're like in this meat factory. And I don't think this is OSHA approved, because there's like turrets and tripwires lying around. Not a very safe work environment. While there, I talked to this guy called Dum Dum. I kept my mouth shut at the time, but that really isn't a great name if you're trying to intimidate someone. Like, you might think about changing that. I get the flathead, but then Militech invades the factory, and I gotta fight a bunch of their dudes. I kill a bunch of them, and I go outside and talk to this dude, and he just doesn't care. I just killed like dozens of your guys, and you're just gonna let me walk on my way? Alright. After doing that, I head back and meet with Dex again, and he told me something about people having to fight through his 300-pound self. I don't think that's much of a challenge, seeing as this is America, and everyone has a gun. Even the children, man. I don't know how much help 300 pounds is when a clump of lead is sent 1,500 feet per second straight toward your face. Anyway, he gives us the details of the job. We're supposed to like sneak into this hotel and do some fancy hacking to make our way to the penthouse, and then take a data shard. Alright. Jackie and I make our way to Konpeki Plaza, where the job is like located at, and I feel like my life has made a complete cycle here, because I started out my life working for Arasaka dressed up in a suit, and now I'm once again at Arasaka in a suit. This is crazy. Nothing feels better than turning your back on your former employer and stealing decades of their research. Well, Jackie and I enter the building, and they don't question us bringing an ultimate killing machine of a robot into the hotel. We're checked in by this woman who's painted in gold. This really says a lot about giant corporations forcing their employees to cover themselves with gold paint that's probably has lead in it just to seem more powerful than their competitors. I honestly feel less bad about stealing their decades of research now. We head up to our room and hack into the plaza's computer system. You'd think that a multi-trillion-dollar company such as Arasaka would invest more money into providing better protection for their facilities software. But anyway, I navigate the flathead through a couple of rooms and take out the netrunner that oversees the building's network. And now that the netrunner is no longer a problem, we're free to enter the penthouse. Like, Arasaka really needs to step up their security. We just were able to hack their systems and then walk directly into the penthouse? Like, come on, we're just two random dudes and no one bats an eye. Anyway, we find the data shard in the penthouse, but then our plan goes down the drain. The Japanese emperor himself shows up and yells at his son for stealing the data shard. I didn't know about any of this beforehand. Maybe I should have been informed. Young little Yorinobu loses his head and chokes the guy out. Nothing better than royal patricide, am I right? Can't blame the guy though. His dad had been alive for 150 years at this point, and he was just gonna keep on living, not passing down his throne. The bodyguards of the two Japanese royals walk into the room and ask what happened. Yorinobu just tells them that someone poisoned his father. Like 2077 must be a very different time, because neither of them question it. It's not like the body is located 10 feet away from where he would have been drinking the poison. And what about the bruises on his neck, or the blood coming from the back of his head? Maybe they just have some really advanced poisons that do all that stuff. But Jackie and I, we have to get out of there. So we start walking out, and while we're on this precariously narrow ledge, we're spotted by the authorities. You'd think that they would try and bring us in peacefully, but no, they just start shooting. It's not like we're standing in front of a multi-billion-dollar penthouse while holding a multi-billion-dollar data shard. Jackie and I jump onto a conveniently placed sloped roof, where we slide down and proceed to fall 57 feet onto a metal walkway. I don't think that's very good for your health. I feel just fine, but Jackie looks a little worse for wear. I made sure to leave one person incapacitated before we battled our way down the building. So that way, they'd wake up just as the gang member had done in the beginning. It's almost becoming a watermark for my doings, like how the wet bandits would flood sinks of the houses they robbed. It's probably not the best idea because all my crimes could be linked together, and if I ever got caught, I'd have to serve the time for all of them. But Jackie and I make our way through the building, and you can't even tell that we just fell nearly to our deaths. This also says a lot about Arasaka's security, because Jackie and I were believed to have just offed the Emperor of Japan. We're able to battle our way through the building while having just fallen 57 feet. Man, we are so worse for wear. And we just battle our way out of the building. They don't send anyone else anymore. There's like 20 dudes. You could at least afford a little bit more for the Emperor of Japan, guys. The big guy, the head guy. But Jackie and I, we get out alive. We're safe. We're driving in the car, going up to meet with Dex. We got to figure out what we're going to do now. But not everything is flowers and roses. Jackie Wells, he was a good man. And he didn't deserve to die that day. Well, anyway, I go and meet with Dex, and he tells me to wash up because I got blood all over my face. And while I'm washing my face, I punch the mirror because I'm a bad boy. And I disregard the consequences of my actions. I walk out of the bathroom to continue talking. Dex? Dex, what are you doing?
Can't risk it, V. Remember our first convo?
Dex, come on.
Seems I've chosen the quiet life after all.
I'll fucking kill you!
Me.
What? You're telling me that's just the intro?